It's the radio equivalent of seeing Halley's Comet. Is what this is. Gasper in studio on a Friday.
Is there like a sale at the Burberry down in Newbury Street? Like what brings you into town here?
I'm not sure it's really him. It might be AI.
Funny enough, you would ask that. It does have to do with clothing. I have to pick up something from the dry cleaner. I went to do it earlier today. They said it wouldn't be ready for 2 hours. It was about 1:45. I said, well, I have to be somewhere at 4. They close at 5, but if I can make it by 5:15, I can get it, and it's about 15 minutes from the studio.
Is it my guy Tony in Wellesley?
It is, yes, Tony the tailor, yes.
Oh, tremendous spot. You'll
right?
make it. Yes.
They're great. So I just have to go from here to there. That's exactly where it is, Felger.
Yeah,
I love those guys.
So Gasper's leaving at 4:55.
That's fine. That's fine. You can cut through Weston. It's a guaranteed 12 minutes if you cut through Weston without any lights.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good tip.
Anyway, Gasper's brought to you by Premier Basement Waterproofing. Now 12 straight weekends. Is this right? 12 straight weekends of rain?
Yep, sure
Correct.
is.
Is that the real number?
That's the real number.
12 straight weekends of rain. I can't even say it right. With more flooding today and tomorrow. If this hasn't convinced you to call our guys at Premier yet, you're setting yourself up for a costly disaster. So whether it's a French drain, crawl space encapsulation, or the Santa Fe dehumidifier, the Albert family always has you covered, so you never worry again. To schedule with Grace, call 844-LIVE-DRY or visit premierbasement.net, and then it's what?
Game over for water.
Gasper, where are you on the Red Sox heading into this weekend series against the Yanks?
Well, can I first say that I feel both more powerful and contrarian just sitting in the seat? Can I say that?
You
just,
should, yes, you should.
This is the most powerful I've ever felt in the Boston sports scene. Where am I, with the Red Sox? They're essentially just treading water. And I think it's interesting listening to Cora talk about the defense because to me, we're not quite at the roster is the roster, but I think that's this year's version of the roster is the roster. He's telling you all of these things fundamentally that the team is deficient at and that are wrong with the team. Now, at the end, he sort of fell on his sword and said, hey, maybe it's on me because I think he knows how it comes off when he says that. But really, anybody who's been following the team and who reads through the lines, the message there is this is what they're giving me. A bunch of kids who have not learned these fundamentals. They haven't been trained in them. They haven't been schooled in them as they've come up through this system. And this is the reason we have 17 one-run losses. This is the reason half of our losses are one-run games because we can't do the little things because that's not what this organization emphasizes. And, Mazz and I were just talking about this before we went on the air, and I put this in the email chain. It was very late. I sent my email late today, but my former Globe colleague, Julie McWilliams, who now works for CBS Sports, had an interesting sort of, rehashing of the issues with the Red Sox. And he had this in it. According to someone familiar with the organization's operations, the Red Sox prioritize range over sure-handedness in the field. Case in point, Christian Campbell struggles with routine plays at second, but shows flashes of exceptional range. Similarly, David Hamilton relies on his speed, but often struggles with his internal clock, rushing plays even when he has time. So how is that getting out there?
Okay, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, where do you think that's coming from? Do you think that's coming from baseball ops?
Right, so what you're saying is Cora's giving me Cora's saying they've given me a bunch of guys. They're just worried about range factor and sort of that advanced analytic when it comes to defense, but meanwhile, they can't really field their position.
Correct.
Right, exactly. So, and now that we know this, by the way, because this is a new piece of information, can I just tell you that
it's such a great nugget. I'm sorry, go ahead.
It is. It's a great nugget. No, it is now official. I hate the way they do everything. So I hate the way they pitch. I hate the way they hit. And now I hate the way they field. So the whole idea is what? Get to the ball. Doesn't matter what you do with it when you get there. Whereas I was telling Chris this, we were always taught the opposite. Make the ones you get to. When you get those, you got to convert those into outs. The ones that get by you because you don't have the range, there's nothing you can do about those. Except the Red Sox say, no. No, you got it backwards. You see, that the way it's been done for years is stupid and it's ass backwards. We are more interested in getting to that ball in the hole, even though Trevor Story and his weak-ass arm will never get it across the diamond to first base, or Christian Campbell can't throw, or David Hamilton, another weak-armed guy, who has to wind up like he's freaking Christy Mathewson with the over-the-head thing, and has to wind up like that to get the ball to first base. They suck at everything now. They do. They suck at everything. They don't do anything the right way.
But it's just another thing we can sort of blame on their organizational philosophy.
Yes.
Right, Chris?
Yeah, I would agree. And there's a little bit more. I want to give you guys a little bit more of this. It says mistakes in the infield generally fall into 3 categories. And keep in mind, Julian McWilliams, he played the game. So, I mean,
he did?
Yes, he played. Yeah, played
Wow.
in college, played some professional baseball, like independent minor league. So he played the game. Mistakes in the infield generally fall into 3 categories: throwing errors, fielding errors, and poor decision making. The Red Sox young players and those playing out of position struggle in all 3.
That's good.
I'm telling you, jackpot. You win.
No, but they have good range, Mazz.
Yeah, exactly. No, they can get to it.
Their
They don't know-
UZR is like amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah, they don't know what the hell to do with it when they get it, but they can get there.
So, Chris, you think the other night was less of Cora saying, this is all on me, and him couching, trying to say, this is what we are?
Yeah, that's my opinion. I don't know that for a fact, but my opinion would be that it was less about him falling on his sword and more about him trying to, I think, in a way that was very gentle and in a way that was subtle, sort of lay out what the team is not good at, and then for people to extrapolate and say, well, what's on the roster and why wouldn't they be good at it? I think he's I'll go back to what I said about Mac Jones. I think Cora's been laying some verbal breadcrumbs, and he's been doing it for a while. I think it goes back to Milwaukee and Atlanta and some of those interviews he did. I think you're getting some verbal breadcrumbs that are the equivalent of the roster is the roster.
And you think this is what they are. So you think we're back where we started from, which is illusion of contention, not a real serious team, and they're not going anywhere because they don't have the talent.
I think I wouldn't say it's illusion of contention. I just think that they're a flawed team.
They're definitely not a serious team.
Yeah, I think they're a flawed team, and I think the organization, I would say this, well-meaning, yes. I don't think that they were selling people a bill of goods and saying, we think we can contend, and they knew they couldn't. They honestly believe they could. Mm-hmm. The thing that's bothered me about this, and I've said this for a while, and it goes back to when Chaim Bloom was there, it's not just about Meyer and Campbell and when it happens, Anthony getting to the majors. It's when they get acclimated and comfortable and can be productive. And I think the problem that they have is they set their entire internal timeline for contention to when these guys are in the majors, almost assuming they're going to get to the majors and immediately be what they need them to be and make this impact. That's not normally how it works. Look at Jaron Duran. Jaron Duran was a train wreck when he first got here. Last year, he was MVP of the All-Star game. He's a pretty good player, but it didn't happen overnight. It took, 2 seasons, Mazz?
2 years.
So they set this whole thing. They set their whole competitive watch to when these guys are ready. Yeah, these guys are ready to be big leaguers. They've outgrown the minors, we think. Campbell might have to go back. But are they ready to be the players they need them to be to contend? No.
And in some questions, Mike, the only thing I'll add is that in some cases they might not be quite ready for the big leagues. Like I would argue when Duran got here, he wasn't ready. And, he wasn't able to read fly balls off the bat. Balls were landing behind him. He was losing balls in the sky.
But he had great range.
Right, he could get there. No, he could run, but he had no idea how to read the ball off the bat. And so that has gotten better, but the reality is he probably needed more time in the minor leagues.